How you doing, everybody? Thanks for stopping by and joining us today for another Rolling Over the Hill on the Live to Roll channel. I'd like to give a shout out at this time to thank our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. As always, I always mention that they're a great and helpful group of experts that are part of our community. So a big thanks to them for helping us out. On today's show, our guest is Frank Aliotto, Frank the Tank. We will be talking about his passion for jeeping and off-roading. As always, please make sure to include your questions, comments, and views in the chat. Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Soto. I'm a T12 spinal cord injury from a motorcycle racing accident back in 1974, closing in on 50 years. And now let's get started and welcome my co-hosts Bobby and Luis. Let's say hello to Luis.
Hi, everybody. My name's Robin Leach, and we're here with another episode of the Old and Disabled. And I'm yelling, and I don't know why, but we've got Frank the Tank. I'm Luis. I've been injured for 43 years, industrial accident, and I'm a L3, L4, so I'm what they call a walking SCI. And I'm just glad to be here. Bobby, who
Yeah,
the heck are you?
well, the heck I am. I'm Bobby Rohan. I'm C5, C6 quadriplegic, 35 years. Luis, I was a perfect Robin Leach with your head cold, so I couldn't agree.
Yeah.
All right, but enough about the three of us. You know who we are, but let's go to our guest for today. I met Frank when he first got hurt. He was in rehab, and then just so happened he started going to a program, an awesome program at Next Step Fitness. If you haven't ever looked them up, look them up. It's a you can go there, get a workout. You can go there for more therapy. But I met Frank there again, and he was coming to some of our support groups and just known him ever since. So take it away, Frank. Frank the Tank.
Hello, I'm a C5, C6. I was injured in a swimming accident in Mexico. Um, I, 15 years ago now, I just, the first several years, everything took forever to do. And I'm finally, basically, after 15 years, kind of enjoying the hobbies I enjoyed before injury. Uh, which includes jeeping. I love doing it, and I love getting out into the outdoors and seeing places that my power chair would never take me. You know,
Oh,
you get out in the woods, you can see things, and public lands in the western U.S. are amazing. And you know, there's a lot of stuff for hikers, but there's still stuff for people that have vehicles that can get out there and look at. Because I cannot hike 20 miles. But I can drive 20 miles, not a problem.
yeah. So, okay. So, you were doing this before, obviously, and that was your passion before your injury of, at 15 years ago. How old were you when you got hurt? And tell us about your jeeping before you got hurt.
I was injured at 36 years old, and I started jeeping in college. A couple of my roommates had jeeps, and we would go out and explore. And I had always been into really fast cars. And I kind of told myself if I ever lost control of a really fast car, things were going to go sideways. And I went with a friend of mine in his little Toyota pickup into the mountains outside of Fresno. And even though we were going terribly slow, I was scared. I didn't know what was going on. I had never done anything like that. You know, you're going 2 miles an hour, and you're like, "Oh my God, we're gonna fall over. We're gonna roll out here in the middle of nowhere." And so ever since then, I've really enjoyed jeeping. I bought my first Jeep right after I graduated from college. I've built quite a few since then, and it took a while. Unfortunately, the one I had when I was injured was manual transmission, and at the time we needed money more than we needed another toy to store. So the Jeep went away, and I just kept trying to like stash money away because someday I knew I would get back to it. And eventually I found a company on the East Coast that said that they could transfer a person into anything. I had gone a couple times and I always had my friends lift me. And I'm not a super light guy, so that was a problem. And everybody's getting older and getting bad backs. So I found this company, Access Mobility, I think. I don't, what's that? Access Unlimited. And Access Unlimited makes, they said they can put you in any vehicle. Whatever it is, they'll figure out a way to get you in the vehicle. So I bought a Jeep and I bought a crane from them. They both cost the same amount. The Jeep cost exactly what the crane cost, which was hilarious. And I trained my caregivers to like be able to put me in the Jeep. One person can do it. They don't have to be strong. And that was like, okay, the switch was on. Let's build up a Jeep and let's go play.
Yeah, awesome. So, that was after your accident. Before your accident, you had, a friend's Jeep, and you were talking about that was your passion. But it seems like it really blossomed after your injury to really get into it.
Well, I did do a lot before I was injured. I worked in the aftermarket industry. I designed shock absorbers, and so playing in the dirt was just part of what we did for work. But sitting at home afterwards, after injury, you get kind of bored of watching TV and surfing the internet.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to get out there and Jeep again. And I would send my friends advertisements from Facebook Marketplace. I'm like, what about this one? What about that one? Today I really want this vehicle, and they thought I was an idiot. And then I found my current Jeep in Missouri, really inexpensively for what it was. It's kind of a rare model, and I I told one of my friends. I said, "Hey, I want this Jeep. Uh, how can we get it here? Do you want to fly out and drive it back?" And he actually found a friend who towed it all the way out to California and dropped it off out in the desert for me. And then I drove it a little bit to make sure that I wasn't going to spend a lot of money on something I couldn't use. So I drove it bone stock for a little while, and then I took it to San Luis Obispo. And my friends did a ton of work on it. They changed the suspension, changed the seats, changed the axles, changed the transfer case. I told them I wanted to go off road, but I wasn't sure how capable I was going to be. So I wanted the Jeep just to dominate, and basically anybody can drive that thing over anything. And it just makes you look good.
That's awesome. I'm going to play a video. Just you do get into your Jeep, so this is pretty
Okay.
cool. Let's see.
Yeah, I like this one. This is a pretty good lift.
If this works. So here we go.
It looks like it's working.
Yeah.
And we only have one crane, so my girlfriend gets in and slides across before I do, and that's what you see right now.
Well, yeah. If that crane costs about what the Jeep was worth,
Yeah, exactly.
I see why.
So she'll get off across, and then my caregiver just loads me right in.
And do they make other types of lifts or cranes that like where
They make all kinds of stuff. They have like, originally I was trying to get, they have like a little flat platform that folds up by the seat and just folds down, but it doesn't work with this particular model of Jeep. So we had to go with the crane. But like with something like that, I think like Trina almost could have driven it independently. You can just transfer to a flat plate and it lifts you up.
Yeah,
cool.
That's
that's
a
pretty
great
cool.
video.
I have never seen a lift like that. It looks sturdy. It's out of the way and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. And it just comes off, and you can stick it usually
Yeah,
we have a chase van, but you can just
yeah,
throw it in the back of the Jeep. It's not a problem. We
yeah.
can
That's
fit
pretty
Does it
nice.
sit
two
in the
manuals.
pipe or a mount?
The mount actually hangs off the door hinges, which is a little odd. At one point, really early on, we tore one of the door hinges off because I swung really wide, really fast, and that was not a great idea.
Yeah.
So now the hinges are gusseted and reinforced, so they take the load a
Mhm.
little bit better now.
Awesome. I got another video of you driving it so we can see what the hand looks like. And we were talking earlier, Frank, before we went live about your harness. I don't know if you want to touch on your
Yeah.
harness and your steering and braking.
Okay. I wear when I'm on the street, I wear a standard, the original seatbelt. But when I'm off road, because of my lack of core, I wear a 4-point harness with padded straps over the shoulders. Because otherwise, the straps actually kind of like leave marks on your chest, and it's not super comfortable. So I have the 4-point harness, which helps a bunch off road, and then I've talked to the people at PSC Steering. They specialize in off road vehicles, and they, with my friend Blaine, worked out a steering setup that it's really light when I'm off road, and there's a switch on the dash I can flip, so it's a little stiffer when you're on road, and it feels a little safer when you're going down the freeway. It's not too light, but when you're off road, it's perfect. Originally, I tried it with the stock steering box, and I would have to have my passenger help me steer when I'm up against a rock. Like there just was not enough power to steer in the rocks and things. Um, and then I have a larger power brake booster and master cylinder and a big brake kit. So it stops on a dime, even though I don't have the strength that a lot of typical people with that Jeep would do.
So, what is your strength like? You're a level like me, 5'6". So, what's your upper body and balance? Um,
My my balance is okay. My core is not there, and if I want to like panic stop, even in my van, I kind of have to throw my upper body into it.
yeah,
The Jeep's not like that. You can just use your arm, and I don't have a whole lot of I don't know if it's tricep that you use or bicep, but I don't have a whole lot of arm strength to slam on the brakes. So I
yeah.
had to do something with that.
That becomes more in like our traps. So because we're like,
Yeah.
oh, come on, stop, stop, stop.
I, I was in an accident once in my first van, and literally I was trying to stop as hard as I could, and I could feel the van just slow motion roll into the car in front of me. I watched it. I was like, please stop, please stop, please. No, no. All right, we're done.
Not going to happen.
But you have to slam on the brakes as hard as you can.
Well, we do have
But the Jeep,
that one photo of your truck that we were talking about. You want to
yeah,
explain this mess?
yeah. I was doing some filming with a friend, and that truck has sensitized steering, and it's got way too much power. And I was going through a little mud puddle, and I romped on it, and it turned 90 degrees, and it turned too fast for me to compensate. Like I was not prepared. I went down an embankment and crashed into another vehicle, and that's when I was like, maybe the sensitized steering isn't always what you want, because it's just so light that it's not damped. You're steering, and it feels like it's just like under constrained. You can't really get a hold of it with one hand.
Yeah.
When things start going sideways fast.
Do you drive with sensitized steering or in your?
I do not in my normal car.
You know.
I have only had it in the truck and when off road in the Jeep.
And how long after your injury did you start driving?
5 years. I didn't want to
Oh,
drive until I could transfer, but I'm a big guy. It's hard to transfer. I never quite got there. So I drive from my chair normally in my daily driver. Um, and I just start. Yeah, I just had a memory pop up yesterday. It's been 5 years since I was driving around like the little city streets of my neighborhood, trying to get used to it. And then 10 years later, it's like whatever. Let's just go do it.
yeah.
There.
And
How
Now,
tall are you, Frank?
I'm 5'11", about
Okay.
225. So I'm
You
not an easy person to throw into stuff.
no, but you
Yeah,
look like when I see
yeah,
you look like 6'4", 6'5".
yeah. He looks pretty tall.
Yeah, when
But
you're
hey, Frank, I got a question. So when you're doing when you're off roading and stuff like that, you the was it the sensitized steering? Isn't that kind of a hassle because you don't really feel the road or feel the terrain or anything like that?
When you're rock crawling,
Hmm.
you just kind of I pay more attention with my eyes. You can feel the what's going on, but mostly you're just going over boulders,
Yeah,
and you can see the hood tilt and the suspension comes up. You can feel what the vehicle is doing. I don't drive fast anymore because after the truck accident, driving fast is kind of sketchy.
yeah.
That Jeep was the last one I built right before I was injured, and it was used for the company I worked for. They used it to, for promotion for a little while. Unfortunately, it was stolen shortly after it was done, but it was a lot of fun.
is that a Ultima battery in there? I see.
That's an Optima battery. They
Ultima.
actually had two of
That's
them
the
in
only
there.
thing I know. When I look at because I used to always say, with our vans, we always need a little bit more power, and we go through battery. So I always like put in the best. Like one time they told me this is the best.
I never have had a problem with them, and I used them in a lot of my old vehicles.
Yeah, no,
They
that
were good.
Have
But
you made the switch to lithium ion yet?
no, no, that sounds expensive. I'm on a
Yeah,
budget.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So
using
So
Frank,
lithium ion in my bike, and I
I
love
just
it.
like the fact that they're lighter.
yeah,
50 in
Um,
my case, it's 15 pounds lighter.
that's a lot. So
yeah.
Frank,
15 makes a
what
big difference.
Frank, what type of off-roading do you prefer the most? Rock crawling, trails, or
when I was not injured, I did it all. I had my pre-runner truck, the white Ford, which was a go fast truck. You can hit stuff at speed, and it just soaks it up and doesn't care. I rock crawl. I've always enjoyed rock crawling. I had dirt bikes and I had a street bike until I was injured. Everything kind of, everything that wasn't practical went away.
yeah, yeah,
And now I just really enjoy rock crawling because it's slow enough that if something happens, it's not going to be catastrophic. I'm not going to smash the entire front end of the vehicle off.
yeah, yeah. More precision driving now.
Yeah, more precision, less. I don't know how people can go fast steering with one hand, especially if they have lightened steering. It's just so hard to like keep keep going in the direction you want to go
Yeah.
and like use finesse.
So obviously you're not doing, or are you doing competitions?
No, I mostly go out with my friends. The same guys I went out with before I was injured. We all go up. I don't camp as much as I used to. I've done it a little, but we go up. We get a Airbnb somewhere, and we just go jeeping all day.
Yeah. So you're
And
planning
yeah, I mean, since having
plan.
the new Jeep, I've gone to
Do you go
Oregon. I've
into
gone.
any of you go to
Go
any
ahead.
events to spectate, like maybe King of Hammers or
I go to
that
King
type
of
of
the
thing?
Hammers. I go to King of the Hammers to see my old friends.
Nice, nice.
I used to be one of the guys in one of the booths. So unfortunately, everybody's really young now, and the old guys aren't going to the shows anymore.
Well,
It's a young man's game.
and I
Yeah.
think the last time, well, it wasn't the last time I ran into you, but it was funny. A little story. I'm driving in, going to a hand cycling clinic, and I look over and there's Frank and Tarina, his girlfriend, and I'm just like, hey guys, and they're like, hey, and I'm thinking they're going there too. So I'm parking. I'm like, okay, I think I'm in the right area because they had moved, or they said they moved areas, and we're going to be here. And I'm like, but where are those guys? They should be around here somewhere. And then I kind of drove around again. Maybe they're parking somewhere else. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to worry about them. And got out, and then once I started biking down, all of a sudden I saw all these Jeeps. I'm like, oh, that's what they're here for. And of course, I ran into Frank, and he's like, yeah, Tarina's working in the booth. So I see you throwing her in the booth now. You're
Well,
pretty.
it's funny. I have a friend. He's the guy responsible for building my Jeep. His name's Dave, and he owns a company called Poly Performance. And they did a lot of work on the Jeep for me. And they come to one show in Southern California anymore. And when they come, Tarina loves to go sit in the booth, hand out stickers to little kids, and take pictures with them.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So that happened to be Jeep Bash, Jeep Beach. I don't remember what it's
Yeah.
called.
I don't know if you want to talk about the relationship, and we all know Trina, and we knew her before you came into the picture, and because I knew of both of you, and then all of a sudden I'm like seeing on Instagram, they're hanging out a lot. It looks like, yeah. I don't know if you want to
Uh,
talk about it and how that all started.
no,
No.
no. uh, no, we were introduced by a mutual friend, Melissa. I don't know if she's ever been on your show,
No, she has.
but we all sat together at the Triumph Casino night, and we became friends. We started going to baseball games, concerts, and you know how it goes. One thing leads to another.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of noticing all the concerts. I'm like, man, they go to a lot of concerts, and I'm not a big.
Hey,
Well,
Frank,
yeah.
any chance we might see the Jeep on display at the Adaptive Sports Festival?
I didn't have plans to take it. I did tell USARC has an off-road program, and
Yes.
I did tell Tarina if USARC ever wanted the Jeep, they'd be welcome to use it for whatever, hang the crane on the outside, and it's if somebody wants it there, it'll be there. Otherwise, it just sits in its cocoon in the garage. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
I have no objections to taking it to anywhere.
It might be a good idea. I mean, I know Anthony takes his little buggy out. It'd be kind of neat to just so people can see what it's all
Yeah.
about. You can have your lift mounted on there, and then they'll see hand controls, and I mean,
And
just kind of open people's eyes up, and let them know that hey, there's an opportunity there.
and
Maybe if
Yeah.
we could, I'm quite sure you have some ramps. Throw up a ramp,
Oh,
park it up on the ramp on
I don't
display,
have
and people
anything
go.
right here, but
That would be
we can
cool.
figure something out.
or kind of
Hard
like
to
Yeah,
get
no,
in and
I
out
think
when
it'd be a
it's
good
not on
idea.
flat ground.
if you had another Jeep where I saw at when I saw you at that Jeep show on the beach, it was one Jeep tire rolled up on top of another Jeep tire. I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah,
That,
Yeah.
that's called stacking, and I did it when I was young. It's just real hard to get out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I bet. I bet.
With a
I
crane,
bet.
and that might be a little hard to get out to park it. But
So now when
yeah,
you built the Jeep you currently have right now, I noticed the articulation and the suspension and all that. So is that what you use mostly because of rock crawling?
it's got a lot of travel. It's got coilovers in the back. It's got air bumps, so theoretically you could go fast off road. But I kind of bounce in the seat, even with the harnesses. You just can't hold on like you really
Yeah,
want to.
yeah.
Um, but that's just so I can crawl over big rocks and keep the tires on the ground. When the
Hmm.
Jeep was being planned, I originally had pretty mild plans for it. I just wanted to be able to do some off roading. And my friends at Poly Performance were like, no, 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 we got you. Don't worry about it. Drop the Jeep off, and we'll send you a bill, and
We'll,
we'll
we'll
see what
send.
Yeah.
happens.
That's the scary. We'll send you a bill. Um,
Those are the best
Yeah.
friends.
I kind of want to go to the chat. Hey, Mickey, glad you're multitasking and watching us as well. Big shout out. Our biggest fan, THC. Welcome. Thanks for joining. My boy, Mike Lee, Quad Boy, and then Zachary's in the house. He was curious, wondering what our injuries were, and I think you might have missed it at the beginning, Zachary. But I'm a C5-6 quadriplegic. Frank, you're C5-6.
C5-6.
C5-6, and you're complete or incomplete?
I was always told I was complete, but I have sensation. So,
Okay, yeah.
and I've looked at the MRIs. It looks really complete, but I can tell you if you grab one of my toes, which toe you're grabbing. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
There you go.
you're incomplete.
And then
Yeah.
Robert and Luis, they're both lower injuries, able to stand. Luis is a walking L1, T12 L1.
L3, L4,
Oh, L3, L4.
incomplete.
And Robert, you're T12.
T12. Yeah.
So there's our injuries. But and just in case, I know we got a little more viewers. I was gonna show that video of you getting into your.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, I was gonna. Where'd it go?
Well,
Let's see if this works.
Nice rock.
Is it on? Did it make it?
yeah. There you go.
Okay. So
The hoist
Yeah,
is
this is a
amazing.
great
for
video.
those who joined us, this is the hoist that, and you take that out when you're driving, then, right, Frank?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it literally unclips from the door frame,
Okay.
and then you can just put it in the back. It lifts right off.
It looks really sturdy and stable and everything. I mean, it's pretty.
It's
Looks
not
like it's
it's
pretty
not
well.
bad at all.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty well engineered.
And it does all the work so that I mean, you see the girl putting me in, she's not really lifting, she's
Right.
not, the thing does all the work, she just guides me in.
Yeah.
She does have to kind of get my seatbelt, which is why she climbs up in there.
Yeah, and I saw how she took that out. Well, back to our show. I saw that she just popped that out. And
You just lift it off.
Yeah. So how much does that run?
That was $8,000.
Okay. It's
It's reasonable for medical terms. When you come to spending anything.
Yeah.
medical.
Compared to what my wheelchair costs.
Yeah,
it's
really.
nothing.
Yeah.
But when you have to come up with it out of pocket, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then, but it worked. The hand controls were used. They were out of the white truck that got wrecked. I just took the hand controls out of that and put it in them. And, it's just been a lot of fun. And I love going out to the woods and seeing things that I could not see easily.
So you were mentioning you went up to Oregon. What other first say what's your main area you go to, and then where do you or where you want to go next, and some of the adventures you've been on.
I typically go up outside of Shaver Lake near Fresno.
Nice.
It's kind of central for a lot of my friends. I have friends in Northern California, friends in Paso Robles, and we all kind of meet there because it's central.
Yeah.
And we go jeeping there. I went up to Bend, Oregon last summer. That was my first trip with the Jeep. That was a lot of fun. It was crazy because I went with it was a bachelor party. I went with a group of guys that were having a really good time. And we get to the first trail, the first obstacle, and it's like basically a dry waterfall. And they're like, go for it. And I was like, I haven't done this in a long time. That's where you want me to start? They're like, yep, go. I got almost to the top, spun all four tires, kind of got stuck, looked at the guy who was riding with me, and I'm like, well, what do I do now? And he's like, well, you back up and you try again. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, we'll be fine. And then after a full day of just really technical rock crawling, by the end of the day, I was just running away from people on the trail, like, all right, let's go. Quit waiting. Let's go. Let's go.
Nice.
So Frank, two questions for you,
Sure.
and you can do them both at the same time. Have you, as a jeeper, because it takes a jeep, from what I understand, have you done the Rubicon? And what is your favorite trail?
I had before injury, I did the Rubicon. I've
Hmm.
done it many times because when I bought my first Jeep, I ended up living near Placerville, so I would
Hmm.
just pop up to the Rubicon all the time.
Nice.
Also, Fordyce, all the trails up there, they're a lot of fun. And then my favorite trail is probably Doozy Ersham, which is also located outside of Shaver. It's about 35 miles long. It's between two wilderness areas. You typically takes about 4 to 7 days, and you don't see many people
Nice.
there. You, if you're into fishing, you can go fishing. If you're into hiking, there's good hiking. It's just one of the most beautiful places you could ever go, uh, and it's without a vehicle. I don't know how I would ever get there again because it's between two wilderness areas, and I'm not going to push a manual chair with up rocks.
Yeah.
Did you get up there this summer or spring since the winter this last year?
I did not get on those two trails this year since
Hmm.
injury. Just camping it takes a lot more gear, especially if you have
Yeah.
two people in chairs with you. And even though the Jeep has a lot of room, it's not quite that big. And back to Bobby's question earlier, I want to go back to Utah and do some Jeeping in Utah. Now that the vehicle is done and running, um, I just want to keep going new and different places.
Oh yeah.
Going to Big
Well,
Bear here in a couple of weeks, and we'll
nice.
do some more exploring, some trails I haven't done. So
Yeah,
Oh,
Utah's nice for four wheeling, off roading, and stuff like that. I used to live in Utah, and
yeah.
some friends of mine had the four wheel drive trucks and stuff. We used to just go out there and hang out, and Lake
mhm.
Powell, and just all the just. There's so much out there for if you're into off roading. Utah's a good place
Yeah,
for that.
I love it. I'm sad. The Bureau of Land Management just closed about 300 miles of dirt roads near Moab, and
Wow.
those are trails I'm
Mhm.
never going to see now. It's you know land use is more important than I want to admit when you're going off road.
Now, I've done, and it's funny. I used to live in Bend, Oregon, so being that you've been up there, but um, in a truck like you used to, or you have this, it's just getting fixed up, right?
Yeah, it's getting
Yeah,
repaired. It's kind of sitting behind a shop,
yeah.
waiting its turn.
So I've been in a truck like that in Montana doing this stuff, and
Mm.
I was just amazed. And uh, there was one road we were going on, and all of a sudden I looked up the top of the mountain. I saw this old 1920. What was it? It was a Ford. Oh, I can't remember. And all the people, with the guy I was with, and he stopped, and there was a trail of people behind him of his friends. He's like, we've been on this trail so many times, we've never seen that up there. And it was stripped down, no tires, but I always get thrilled about finding abandoned cars in the middle of nowhere. Like,
Yeah.
how did it get there? Like when I get on my YouTube, I I, I tend to all of a sudden find these videos like that and
Yeah.
just start watching it.
Or if you're out there, they're mostly bullet riddled. Somebody's using them for target practice and all that.
Yeah. So no, it's pretty amazing. Um, and so when you're not jeeping, what are you doing, Frank?
Well, I have a hand cycle, but I have not been out on it in a while. I do work a little bit. I still design shock absorbers. I do it uh, part time, just a little bit, just enough to keep it interesting. I've taken Tarina. I think we've been to SEMA twice. She enjoys that. Going to see all the other companies
Cool.
and things.
Yeah. Cool.
Um, We do a little bit of traveling. My new thing is I'm playing with the little drone that I recently got because it's actually easier to control than a remote controlled car. Because if you start to have problems, you just let go and it just hangs out where it is. It's just stupid easy. The
Oh,
biggest problem is I live where there's a lot of power lines.
uh,
Hmm.
find
I,
places.
I didn't know that about a drone. So the remote, so if you just let go of the joysticks where they are, it'll stay hovering wherever it was at.
Yeah, and
Wow,
there's
I
a
didn't know
button on it that if it loses contact or you push a button on it, it goes back to where you took off from.
And
that.
doesn't it
Okay.
come back? Like I've heard of some, or my friend had one where it came back to him when it was low on battery.
Yeah, this one
Yeah.
does that too. It'll
That's
go
pretty
right back
Back
nice.
to
to
where it
me.
took off.
I'd like to get into that.
Yeah, I'll probably text you and ask you which one you have.
Well, I
Both
bought one, and
Sean
then
and I have drones, and neither one of us have used them.
Oh, fun to
I
use.
bought mine, and 2 weeks later, the new model came out.
Uh,
Right after I bought all the accessories,
I
it was like,
The closest I got to a drone was I got one of the remote control helicopters one time, and it was pretty durable. They were really pushing how it could be beat up and it still flies. Well, the remote that I had wasn't that way because I had it on my lap, and I was flying the helicopter. I set it down because I crashed the helicopter. I went to get it. The remote slid off my lap and busted all up. I go, well, the helicopter withstood the crash, but the remote control didn't.
Frank, what's your preference in drones?
I've only played with one. I have a DJI Mini 3 Pro,
Oh,
and
nice.
I bought it because it will trail things, and I
Hmm.
figured having it trail things automatically was going to be easier than me trying to drive a drone, drive a jeep, sit in
Yeah.
or make Trina
Exactly.
do it from the passenger seat.
Oh, see, and that's why. Well, you and I need to meet up. Marina Del Rey or something, one of the bike paths, and at least do hand cycling. But I always wanted to get a drone shot of me hand cycling on my bike.
Oh,
And now that you just said, I didn't know you had a hand cycle, or I'd be like, get your butt out here. Come on, let's go.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. I have it set, and for practice I chase Tarina when she's like pushing up and down the street. I'll
Uh,
have it trail her, and it like avoids the trees and things. It's hilarious.
nice.
Works real well.
That trailing follow feature is awesome.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
don't have that, but I would like to.
Good old technology, man. Jeez.
just for a quick overview of your injury. So, you know, you're not able to transfer. You wanted to transfer to drive. What other? I see you're in a power chair. Because we know that, but you're a power chair user. So your daily, care and all that. What is it? What is your day?
Uh, I have a caregiver that comes in the morning. She gets me up and she gets me up, gets me cleaned up, ready to go about the day.
Uh,
And then during the day, I used to just hang out at home and go to the gym, take the chair. Now I hang out with Tarina and go to the gym with Tarina.
there you go.
But I run my chair all over the neighborhood. Uh, I can't, I say I'm going to go for a walk, but I just like to take my power chair out and
Yeah.
see what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
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 All right, Frank. Let's hear the real truth here, because we're here to really investigate you and get the truth. How much time are you spending on that new barbecue?
We just did a pulled pork on Sunday, and it was pretty good. I just you know
Nice.
it goes to your phone on Bluetooth, and it's basically completely automated. So I just sat on the porch, had a beer, and occasionally looked at the temperature of the meat, and there we go.
Yeah,
That's my
well,
kind of barbecue.
pulled pork. That's you can do that with pulled pork. There's some out there you got to do a little bit more, but pulled pork I love to do because it's so easy. What grill do you have?
We have a Pit Boss I don't remember what model it is, but it's the absolute smallest one you can get. We found a giant offset wood burning smoker, and somebody gave it to us. And so we were getting everything ready to use that one weekend. And Trina happened to be at the local Target, and they had a closeout sale. This grill was marked down from either 400 or 500 to 120. So
Wow.
we just rolled it in the van and took it home, and we don't have to worry about putting wood in it, keeping the fire at the right temperature. We don't do any of that. We just set it. As long as it's got pellets in it, we're good.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I was just looking at the ones at Home Depot just this last week, and 4 or 500 for a smart pellet barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great price
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
they're upwards of 800, $1,200.
yeah.
That's a good
It does
price.
everything for you.
Yeah. No, and I got barbecue on one side, my smoker on the other, and the one last thing I want to do, where I have that space, Robert and Luis,
Mm-hmm.
by the round end, is I want to do a flat top. So
Yeah.
A grill,
take out my
grill,
scrambled eggs, where I
grill.
do some scrambled
Yeah.
bacon.
That's right. I was looking at home Lowe's. They had a sale going on all these grills, and I go, man, I'd like to get it. I was watching something on TikTok, and I got into watching these guys on the grills, and I go, that'd be great, man.
I know it.
Yeah.
I
Bobby, if you get a grill as well with your
Breakfast,
setup,
breakfast at
I
Bobby's.
only have one question. Do you have a room to let?
I do. It's very expensive.
I'm
Uh
not going to tell you what's in my backyard now.
oh.
Oh
Everybody will
no.
be mad. But
What
there
is?
is a grill, and there's a griddle, a barbecue, and a smoker.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you do.
But they're all little because they're easier to manage for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the one thing about my barbecue setup is I don't have to worry about the propane, so I can run the gas line. I mean, the gas line. It's already hooked
yeah.
up in that
Yeah.
area.
It's already plumbed.
Yeah, makes it so
It's
much.
already proof for that. Yeah.
Yeah, because if I
I
have,
The
found
one I was looking at was both a smoker and a barbecue in one, which
mine.
is nice.
If you look on Amazon, they have little dollies if you have to deal with propane, and you can easily roll it from the garage to the house.
good.
That makes it a lot easier because we cannot. There's no way to lift one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I could kick it with my feet.
Put the footrest against it, man. Bulldoze it.
Yeah.
Hey,
I do that a lot.
I got a question for you, Frank. Getting kind of back on track with the off-roading. If
Oh, sorry about that.
somebody out there listening and all that stuff, they're interested in off-roading and they want to get started. Obviously, everything's expensive out there nowadays. Depending on how much of an enthusiast you are. What would you advise them to something to get started with? I mean, I'm not saying going, full on race suspensions and all that, but what do they need to look for and what would they want?
If I was looking again, like I don't like to buy new
Hmm.
because off road things get beat up.
Yeah.
Things get scratched up, things get dented. Look for something older. Get involved with a local Jeep club or internet Jeep group. Facebook has groups for everything. One of them is like there's even a group for people in wheelchairs with cars. It's called Wheelies and Whips, and they offer advice. And but I would get involved with a club. Go on a couple club rides before you even buy anything.
Yeah.
See what the people around you and that you think you're going to go out with. See what they drive. you don't want to have a side by side and be the only guy in a side by side when everybody else is driving street legal vehicles.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you often can't. You're on the run. Um,
That's great
I love my
advice.
Jeep. I love my Jeep, but if I had not hung out with side by side people, it's never going to keep up with them in the dirt. You know, it's just not built for that. It's heavy. It's heavy and slow is where it is. You know, just see what kind of off roading the people around you do and what's available locally. I
Yeah.
mean, Southern California is nice because you've got the desert, you've got the mountains, you've got rock crawling. You know, you can do anything here, but a lot of places, you know, you're limited.
And
Do we still have beach access to Pismo Beach?
So far, we went up there this year and we cruised around on the sand, and it was a lot of fun. They won. There's some legal group. I think it's Friends of Pismo Beach. Won a
Mm-hmm.
lawsuit this year, and they were able to keep it open
oh,
quite
good.
a bit
Nice.
long. You know,
Oh, okay. I thought they were the ones that want to close it. So when you go on these adventures, you drive to them, right, in your Jeep. You don't haul it.
yeah. I don't. I sold my trailer years ago. I don't have anything I can drive that would tow the Jeep. I mean, it's probably 4,500, 5,000 pounds plus a trailer. You know, my minivan's not going to love that.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to have
It's
your
just,
Jeep to tow some.
Yeah, you have to pull the minivan.
yeah. And so we drive the Jeep everywhere we've gone. When I sent it to Bend, one of my friends towed it up there for that, and I just drove my van.
Oh,
But
Hey,
yeah,
what size wheels are on your Jeep?
those are a 38 inch tire with a 17-inch rim.
Those are some good sized tires, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it just makes it easy. Originally, the plan was to build around 35s, not too much, and
Yeah.
that plan went
No.
out the window.
No. 38s. 38s
Eh,
are the way to go.
if they were much bigger, I'd never make it up grapevine though. They're heavy.
Yeah.
yeah. So over under when you're done with your Jeep, the new one, the blue one, are you over what it costs for a minivan fully stocked, or are you under?
Oh no. No, I'm not even close. I have a lot of money wrapped up into it, and I have a lot of volunteer hours. Um, so many people helped me with that build. People that I used to work with, people that I know from industry. Uh, I, I I would love to thank them all and attempt that right now, but I know when I look on my Instagram, like I have all the hashtags and the ats at the bottom. That list is like really long, and I always forget somebody. So
You got,
I don't want to make a fool of myself.
yeah, you do.
But
So
if
on your Instagram, you got to do the cut and paste every time because
yeah,
Yeah.
to try to.
I save the list in my notes and I just paste it in every time.
Yeah, I've been meaning to do that on some of my catchphrases. So what about? Whoops. Is it this? Nope. Let's see. Where's the red one? So the red one. How much? How much
The
are we?
red one was a company sponsored build. I was offered 28 for it when it was first done. Unfortunately, it was stolen and stripped. I have the body and the frame, but a friend of mine's kid just put it back together, and it's his first vehicle. He's 16,
Oh,
and
nice.
he's real happy.
Nice.
I added up all the receipts for the because they caught the guy that stole it, and I had to go to court. And I think there was about $38,000 or $40,000 into that one,
Okay.
and that was in 2005.
Hmm.
And this one, if I not including the crane and the hand controls, I probably have about $30,000 into it, and then a lot of labor that a lot of
Yeah.
volunteer labor.
Sweet, sweet. Have you ever been to down in Laguna Canyon? There's when you're going through, I always see this land of property, and he's got tons of Jeeps just sitting on the side. I'll have to send you the info if I come across it. but he's got like probably 50 sitting up on the hillsides, all right
Wow.
there. Yeah.
That's my idea of paradise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Jeepville.
I don't think the neighbors would like it, but whatever.
Yeah. Oh, whatever. Nice. Nice. Robert, you want to talk about our sponsors before we start?
Sure, sure. Our sponsors, as we always let you guys know how they're part of the community. Mobility Professionals is a Southern California company selling wheelchairs, providing wheelchairs and rehab equipment. Great group of people. Dean is one of our guests, has been one of our guests, and just all around friend, really. He's a big part of Mobility Professionals and the community. So if there's anything you need here in Southern California, check them out. A great group of people, very knowledgeable. Urology Professionals, their sister company is a national company for urological needs. So if you having issues with any of your current vendors or providers, and you want to talk to people that know about what's going on out there that actually use the product, Urology Professionals, they're at all our events. We go to some of our little parties and things like that. Owner Don and the rest of the group are great people, and when you deal with them, they make you feel like you're part of the family. So check them out: Mobility Professionals and Urology Professionals.
Cool. So one last question I kind of have before we ask you any words of wisdom, but so after doing a day of rock crawling, what's your body feel like? Are you sore? Have you gotten used to it, or is your back like? I've been jet skiing once, and I'll never do it again because it was like no, 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 and it's so hard on me. And I know you're going. You say you go slow, but it's got to be tough on the body and all the concentration.
Even with the harnesses, I move back and forth a lot, and I get kind of bruised up on my shoulders, and I'm just kind of tired. It you know, it's different from driving all day in the van. Driving all day in the van, I'm just like mentally blown out. But my shoulders are sore, tired. When I first started, I had to take a rest day the next day after driving. Now I can just, I go recline in my chair and I relax, and I don't feel too bad. The seats, I have basically what's like an old style desert racing seat in the Jeep, and it's actually much more comfortable and supportive than my power chair. It's weird that something else is more comfortable than what I spend all day
Yeah.
every day in.
Do you have a
But
particular type of cushion that you sit on?
I just sit on a Mastercraft seat,
Okay. No,
and
no, no supplemental cushion or anything like that. Huh?
no,
Cool.
it's made out of like it's supported by parachute cord for spring,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
so it's actually really comfortable.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, we haven't had any trouble with any kind of skin breakdown. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No skin breakdown, nothing like that. Just your body's a little achy for a while. A lot of
Yeah.
times I'll like to put. We have like a percussion massager, and I'll try to have somebody hit my shoulder blades with the percussion massager.
Yeah. Now your seat, and then we'll kind of get on a little bit with that. But your seat has a lot of bolster. Does it hold you in
It's got
place?
a lot of bolster. I wish it had a little bit more in the arms. I don't know if
Hmm.
Bobby has a video or a picture of the inside, but you can see it kind of wraps around you.
I think on one of
And it helps.
the
Yeah,
little
you
Yeah.
can't really.
I think there's another one.
one, yeah, there it is.
Oh, you can't really see the seat,
A
but
little
it
bit, but
does
yeah.
come around.
So
Oh,
yeah, it does come and wrap around pretty much there.
there's a picture of I think not that one, but there it is.
That's the old seat. Oh no,
Yeah.
that is them. That's the new ones. I can hardly tell I'm old. Um, those
I
are the
keep
new seats. That
I keep zeroing in
you
on
can
those
see the
38s,
holster.
man. That thing looks great with those 38s.
But you can see the chair there has a lot of
Yeah.
support.
Yeah.
Frank, what model of Jeep is that?
It is a 2004 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. It is 10 inches longer than the regular Jeep. And I bought that originally. I bought that thinking that I wanted extra space for the wheelchair and, gear if I camped out of it. One of the things that I did is that because the tires are so darn big, I never found a good spare tire carrier for the back. So the tire is in the back, like right behind the seats, and it takes up a ton of interior space.
Yeah.
So I don't have a whole lot of room inside like I wish I did.
Have you ever had to use it?
Not yet, knock on wood.
Another knock on wood.
Um, what was I going to ask? Oh, about CJ. So I want to say my dad had a. Was there such thing as a CJ7? I know there's CJ5s, right? But was there a CJ7?
My red Jeep that you've seen and posted, that was a CJ7.
So there is.
It's
okay, good.
It's the same length as a regular Wrangler. That's a CJ7, also the white one that you saw.
This
That
one?
was a friend of mine's CJ7. His son is the one who just built up my old red one. That's just me in college when I was first got the bug.
Whoops, that's your truck.
Keep reminding him of that one, don't you?
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is okay. We had a CJ7.
That's a CJ7. They're really nice. I loved mine. It drove beautiful.
And that's a CJ.
Somebody else wanted. Yep. That's also a CJ7, but more modified.
Are the more popular ones the Wrangler or the CJ5s?
There's groups for. Every Jeep has an ass that wants to sit in it. There's groups that love flat fenders, which are the very oldest Jeeps. There are groups that only like the brand new ones off the lot that have the big giant screens in them and things. Just you can find a group for anything.
Yeah.
I always.
What about what's your take on Jeep coming out with electric Jeep?
I'm not anti-electric vehicle. I did a lot of research on them in college. I did hybrid research, actually.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned about some of them, like when they, if it runs out of juice and bricks itself, a lot of them stay in park. So I don't know how you're going to get one if it dies on the trail. I don't know how you're going to get it out. If you can't.
But the torque on an EV is major. So I mean that's going to help immense. A lot.
It's immense, and it'll be fine. But we'll see. I'm just
a few hurdles, huh? A few hurdles before they really get.
Yeah, I almost run out of gas, and I carry extra gas in the back of the Jeep on most trips.
Yeah.
And you can't carry a bucket of electricity too easily.
Yeah.
Thing and you said you studied electric cars in college. So I heard there, and maybe give me if I've heard this wrong, is it's going to be worse for the environment for all these electric cars because of the battery situation. Is that correct?
The batteries are not good, and they use really bad mining techniques. But then look at oil. They do bad things to get oil. So I'm not.
It's like wait, how you want to wait?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I heard about
the problem.
Yeah, I heard on the batteries what they do is they're starting to recycle in terms of there's companies that use because I guess in a vehicle you need at least a little over 70% or something like that for it to still function like it's designed to. And so some of these companies are getting these old batteries that are still 70% chargeable, and they applying them to some manufacturing equipment and all that kind of stuff. So they're finding little things like that to repurpose them. What I heard.
I've seen
it helps.
I have seen people who repurpose the batteries from cars as like their own homemade power walls in the house.
Yeah.
So people will do that
exactly.
and do that. So it's all interesting. I'm not sure.
Tesla does that with their power wall. They're starting to repurpose the Tesla battery into the Tesla power wall.
Smart.
Also, there's different ways of mining the lithium, and also Panasonic or Matsushita, a Korean company, I don't remember their name. And Toyota, plug for the taco trucks. They're starting to look at some additional battery materials that'll be higher capacity, more recyclable. So
Yeah.
the nice thing about battery technology, it's not static. It continues to evolve.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, Frank, it was so great to catch up with you and
Oh, always.
coming on. And I'm sure we're going to have you back on a guest for our Tuesday show. So we'll be back next Tuesday with our live Live to Roll. It's Halloween. I don't know if the
Ooh, you guys are going to be dressing up?
I don't do it. What I'll probably do is wear my wig from our show.
Yeah, from the 70s
Yeah.
show,
The
whatever.
Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think do I have a screenshot for that? I'm all
When's Shawn coming back? And you want to let everybody know kind of where Shawn is?
Monday.
Yeah, he's
He
Monday,
gets back Monday.
and he's
I'm picking him
Sweden?
up from the airport.
Is he in Sweden?
tweeted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's from
Yeah.
y'all. So, and then next
Oh
Wednesday,
yeah. Don't you know?
Tom will be back with gaming.
Shall we play a game?
You're waiting to use that, huh?
Oh, wait, that's the only reason why I was getting to this. And then not next Thursday, it will be the first of the month, so our women will be back with Brianna. But check us out. Like this video if you haven't already. Frank, thank you so much. My co-partners, Robert.
Thanks, Frank. Thank you.
No
Thank you,
problem.
guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Frank.
Before we log off, any last advice?
Just get out there and see stuff. You know, it's a beautiful world.
Enjoy
out there.
life,
Don't
man.
sit-
Enjoy life.
Yeah,
Don't sit in the house and just exist.
exactly. There you go. I'm so happy when I started seeing your Instagram of all the things you started doing. After when we first met, you were kind of like, yeah. But it's awesome to see you out there. So thank you so much, Frank.
Yep. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you,
And
Bob.
Shawn's in Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Take care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He's
Thanks,
supposed to
Paul.
bring back beer and chocolate.
Yeah. So
All right, you guys. Thanks a lot.
live to roll.
See you, Frank. See you, Louis. See you, Bob.
Bye.
Take care, Frank.
Live to roll.